Hi Karen, it's Jason Hawkins here from KND Digital. I'm just going to go through and audit your site as per your request through our website. Thank you for your inquiry, and we're looking forward to digging into your current situation. I have to say, a lot of it is looking good. You've done a really good job and are on top of most things that are running through your site. Obviously, you probably found us through some of the other resort stuff that we do for the Gold Coast. So we have a little bit of experience in this area. So I'm just going to sort of maybe relate back to a bit of that as we move through. I'm going to look at a few things, usability of your site, some technical elements, a little bit of auditing of those technical elements, a bit of SEO and social. There's obviously a lot going on in the ecosystem with websites these days, so it's important to sort of balance out what is good and what's bad in all those areas, and then make some decisions about moving forward. So essentially, your website is in good shape. There are a few interesting. I noticed it's not going to load now for me, but the first image that loads for me on the site is the top of the building, this one, and I wouldn't say that's necessarily the best image that should load in the site. It doesn't necessarily paint the whole picture of what your properties are about, so there may be a chance to actually revisit those. Some of these other shots are a little bit more engaging. What I do notice about this site as well is there's no offer sort of jumping out. And this is one of the things sort of recurring. Yes, when you scroll down, there's the book, there's the view specials, and as you go through to the apartment pages, there's the opportunity to book there. I notice you're using Levart, which is excellent, and the book now drops you in. So all those are kind of working, but what is that extra carrot that is going to necessarily, book and save, book direct and save on this? There's no real just let's go do this now. Where's the urgency, I guess? What have you got coming up? What is that specials that is coming up in the next 2 months to really engage that user? Book direct now and save for July, or your winter escape. Make it seasonal. It's more of an advertising thing than a technical website thing, is my gut feel. So yeah, your Levart booking, I'll just go back to the main website, is good. I should also, your integration of the Levart engine into the check availability into Google search is excellent. Very great to see that you're doing that. Hopefully that's paying off you. The feedback I've had from the other resorts we work with is that is it's adding another channel to the process, and it's providing some additional opportunity there for bookings. Now let's have a look from a search perspective. Now it's obvious that you've been doing some work in this area, and that's really good. For general accommodation, Burleigh and accommodation Burleigh heads, you are looking at your top of page 2, almost onto page 1. Very, very challenging, obviously, with your TripAdvisors, Last Minutes, your Travagos, hotels combined, and all of those big aggregators actually making it onto the first page. But you are on, that top of page 2 in here, which is brilliant. So the work that you've been doing on the site that is in your blog area all the way down here is making a difference. Now, obviously the blog here is really just being used for SEO purposes, and that's making a difference. But what else could the blog be used for? The news. This is what's kind of missing from the site, is that whole sort of engagement, what's going on, what's now, what's new, what's now, and happening in your community and for your regular patrons, if you like. So there could be a chance to add that news up in the top line and use it for more engaging content that your prospective visitors will want to see or get some information out of. There's lots going on in Burleigh all the time, and I know that means getting active in socials, which brings me to your other. So it looks like with your socials and Facebook that something's happened with your COVID time, and you've probably paused your social media marketing, or you've been distracted with your everything else that's been going on in this turbulent 12 months to not do your the active posting you were doing pre-COVID. So I would encourage you to get back to getting into that active social media activity, because it's not really clear that that's actually, it's quite clear that that's kind of dropped off your radar recently. So I can see on your homepage you've got that feed. Overall, with your site, if I had my design hat on, and I'm not a graphic designer, but I'm UX and user experience, and I'd say these colours are all a bit dull. So it could be a little bit more vibrant. Perhaps you're thinking about a redesign. So, and that's where I think it kind of needs to, jump out of the page. Nothing's, you've got some nice photography, but the photography isn't just wow. But it works. It's you and it works. But a lot of your colours are not vibrant colours. So your call to actions, for example, your check rates and your book now, I would be using a colour that's quite contrast to everything else on the site. This is what you want users to do, is to book. So don't be afraid to choose a contrasting colour that's really going to jump out of the page. It's book direct now and save. It's grey. God damn it. Actually punch it out of the page and get that engagement going there. With that in mind, and I've already mentioned it about the specials, make sure that, I think there's a lot of lost real estate here. I don't even, it actually looks like you don't have any specials. So I would perhaps get rid of the slider, go straight into here. Here's your special. It's all the way down, scroll down the page. That needs to be, up front and center above the fold, and especially on mobile, that needs to be above the fold as well. So your mobile responsiveness is all good, obviously using a template that's working for you. Let's have a look at some technical aspects of the site now. And I've run you through SEMrush, which is a global kind of aggregator assessment tool. This can dive a lot deeper if we have more data, but on just an initial analysis. Your site has a few errors in it that should be resolved, as far as what do they look like. From an SEO perspective, you've got duplicate tag titles, you've got some dead links and dead pages. Your sitemap may need a refresh. We won't worry about AMP just at the moment, but there's a few errors there that could be easily resolved. Perhaps it's worth just doing a bit of an SEO overhaul, spending a day or two looking at those title tags and your metadata for each of those pages to make it just run your eyes over that again, or we can do that for you if you like as well. So let's not get too obsessed with that, but certainly there's always work to be done on websites to keep them up to date and secure. From a load perspective, like I'm talking performance of speed and load, isn't full content paint. Sorry, you're fully loaded in 17 seconds, which isn't great. That should be half that. You're getting some decent cache. You're compressing most of your images, so your speed times, your server's not, in this particular instance, hasn't responded incredibly quickly. But there might be some redirects and stuff going on. So how this works is this is looking at your load of your site and how, so you've got a lot of stuff loading. This is what's kind of penalising you at the moment, are these, I would say, images that could be better optimised or better delivered in the page. So you've got those, they could be solved pretty good. So, the ones up higher are quite good, they're quite fast, but as you drop down, they're adding a fair bit of load time. Other than that, there's no other glaringly obvious technical issues. Google do an assessment that is very difficult to rank in if you're running, especially if you're running WordPress, but it gives you quite a low performance score of 14, and your speed could be worked on. Now, it's wanting images to be served in particular way. Certainly it wants images to be optimized correctly, so shrunk down in size, but then they're looking for sort of performance issues. Now, it's this report, it's a true indication according to Google eyes, but Google is quite biased in a way at how it wants you to deliver a page, hence why it can be very, very difficult to move this number without some serious changes to your overall template. So, sites need to be built from scratch in a way that sort of satisfies this number. So, yeah, that is that. Calls to action, I've said. Facebook being out of date are your two sort of glaringly things that you need to be looking at. Mobile is looking good. I won't even go there. So that's my brief assessment of your site. So you're doing some really, really good things on your site. There's some minor improvements that could be made to the user experience. I think, if you're thinking about an overhaul to the visual aspect, yes, you could choose some, relook at your images. Obviously, it's an incredibly competitive space down there, so you'd be doing pro shots, really getting those slick for the next few years if you were going to do that, rather than just using stock library shots on some of this work. But look, you are doing a great job on most things. So well done, Karen. Just reach out if you would like us to have a look at doing some of those things for you. You can find us at knd.com.au, or don't hesitate to give us a call, and I look forward to talking to you soon. Cheers.